Well, that was quite a journey. I had trouble there for a second trying to get into my YouTube. I have several accounts with YouTube, and it wasn't letting me switch between them at first. And then I had to uninstall the app and reinstall it. Super annoying. My lives never show up true to color or detail, and I don't know why that is when my photos do, but not the live. But I'm working on several dolls today, finishing up a custom order, and then starting a new custom order. And then this is a sold out limited edition kit. Yael, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yael by Gudrun Legler. And this doll will be available very soon. I'm planning on finishing the hair today and listing him. He's super cute. And yeah, I'm really excited to finish this one. I've always wanted to paint this kit, but like I said, it was sold out and it was limited edition. And I will almost never pay for a kit that's sold out, because people like to charge like 3 times the amount for them. But I was able to get him for retail price straight from McPherson's. I'm doing really well. Getting a lot of work done today. But yeah, so I was able to get his kit retail price directly from McPherson's. I even have the COA and everything for him, and his body, his original body, everything. So I'm really excited to finish him up today. Again, the lighting is terrible, so you can't see his full detail. My lighting, I can see, but you guys can't see that well. But I do have pictures that I put up of him yesterday. And I mean, he is so cute, you guys. So cute. But that's on Instagram. So if you don't have an Instagram, you can't see quite him yet. But I will post him today when I finish. He's gonna just have comby hair, so that's why I'm like, I will finish him today. It doesn't take that long. So right now I'm doing another layer of paint on him for his hair part of the comby hair. And for his hair, I'm just using raw umber. So it's like a dark brown. Normally I use black, carbon black for the hair. But yeah, how is everyone? I haven't made a video or done anything since I did that outing at the park. So I was wanting to go live because I feel like I'm going to be on live for quite a bit because I'm doing a bunch today, and thought I would try to take you guys along with what I'm doing in my studio today. So yes, so first I'm just going to do a layer on his hair, and then I'm going to show you the other dolls I'm working on. And then the other doll that I have done it's the sold out Ephraim. And then I also am going to show you my collection doll that I finished finally. And she has a name and everything. So yeah, lots of things I want to show you guys and chat with you guys about too. Got some important things that I want to chat about as well, because these holidays in particular that I want to mention are coming up. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about that now, even though there's only a few of us here. um, I'll leave this, of course, I'm going to leave this live up so people can go back and watch it to see what I'm talking about. But basically, I no longer celebrate the 4th of July, and I haven't for a couple years now, because I didn't even know. First of all, I didn't know for a long time what Juneteenth was, or that it was even a thing that happened. Like, I did not know. Um, so yeah, I didn't know it was a thing. But now that's what I celebrate instead, if I'm going to, the whole point of the 4th of July, right, is the um, celebration of freedom, right? It's supposed to be anyway. But the thing about it is, um, black people definitely were not free at that point of when the 4th of July started becoming really a thing. So as I gotten older, I started realizing that I was like, wait a minute, my ancestors were definitely not free during this time period. So why am I celebrating a day that has not much significance for me um, or my ancestors? It kind of seemed like, why am I doing this? Doesn't make sense. Why is the U.S. celebrating this as its independence? Um, I don't know. I would think if we're going to celebrate freedom, it would be a day where most, if not everyone, was freed, right? So, yeah. So now I don't celebrate 4th of July because of that. It just feels wrong to do that as a black person in America. If you don't know, Juneteenth basically is when I forgot where, but they were finally notified. Black people were finally notified that they were free. It was like days, I think 3 days after the the final what's the word I'm looking for? Not document. The end of emancipation. There we go. The final emancipation papers and proclamation, all it was signed. It took 3 more days for the rest of black people to be notified that they were, hey, you were free. You no longer are a slave. So yeah, it's really messed up that growing up I was never taught about this. Um, and it wasn't until I got into college that I started hearing about it. And then of course then they made it a actual holiday. Even though what is really interesting about them proclaiming it as a national holiday is I still don't technically get off of work that day. It's not like a required holiday off, but you better believe 4th of July is. So, it's like, yeah, sure, it's a holiday, right? But not really. Um, Still. So we'll see if that changes in the next few years. But I have big doubts about that. But luckily, I do work at a place where we have really great benefits, really good time off. So I'm probably going to take that Monday off and use one of my paid leave days um, so that I can celebrate what I feel like I should be celebrating, freedom. But yeah, so, nowadays when 4th of July rolls around, I see all these people posting about 4th of July, like posting their dolls in red, white, and blue. I just feel gross because first of all, I don't like America that much anyway. And then on top of that, all I can think now that I know, I'm like, well, shit. Pardon my French, but shit. Like, I don't like that because my ancestors weren't free. They surely were not. We were still slaves. um, and yeah, so I definitely, you will not catch my dolls in red, white, and blue. And even on Juneteenth, I still, it's not going to be red, white, and blue. It's going to be, I don't know, dressing them as normal and just explaining today is a very important day in history, and explaining the context of the day and what it means, and how we should be celebrating that instead of 4th of July. But of course, like I said, anything like that, it's hard because Americans are they're so involved and stuck in tradition. So I don't think, like I said, it's ever going to be to the point where no one is celebrating 4th of July. I mean, hell, it's been like, what, 300 years or something? Yeah. But I think more and more we're going to see that Black people, African Americans, or people with ancestry that is anything other than Caucasian are going to slowly start moving towards, I think, celebrating Juneteenth. I don't know. It's kind of hard because then, like, I think about Asian people, specifically the Japanese, and how, it was like, what, 1944? And we were putting them in internment camps. And this is, like, again, something that, yeah, we talked about in U.S. history because I took AP U.S. history in high school, but they, like, breezed past it like it wasn't a big deal that we actually put people in internment camps in America. Like, they just, like, breezed past that little bit of fact in our history. But again, so the more I learn about America, the more I'm like, I hate this country just a little bit, um, because of what has been done to pretty much everyone. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because that's that's a main holiday. It's coming up is Juneteenth. I mean, it's the week after next, so thought it was important to mention. If you don't know what it is, look into the history, educate yourself. It's always good to learn and grow about different traditions, um, as it concerns fellow human beings. Yes, indeed. Very important. Um, and then another holiday that I wanted to mention that I won't be celebrating that's coming up is, as far as it applies to me, of course, is Father's Day. Now, without a doubt, this is going to happen anyway. It's gives me icky, weird feelings, but every year people are like, will say Happy Father's Day to me, and I'm like, I'm not a dad. I just collect dolls, dude. Um, so I know, like, people in the reborn community say that and do that to be polite, but it's just odd to me because they're not real. I'm not an actual father. And same thing with Mother's Day. That's why I never, like, almost never post on my doll Instagram when it's a Mother's Day unless I'm posting directly to real mothers. Because I really find it really concerning when they're like Happy Mother's Day to the reborn moms, people who don't have actual children. It's very weird to me, because collecting dolls, literally dressing them up and carrying them around, is not parenthood. Um, I know that's a controversial opinion or whatever because a lot of people think they should, like, treat their dolls like they're real or whatever, but it's not the same. It really, really, and I say that as someone who has nieces and nephews, little cousins that I've taken part of their life, their formative years, and it's not the same. Now, you don't have to have biological children to be a parent, like I said just now, you can take part of formative years in someone's life and like have a parent type relationship with someone that you might not be related to at all. But I just think it's odd in this community that we, like, say that on these days that are reserved for people who have those impacts on people's lives. Like, if you want to do that, maybe make your own, like, holiday. Reborn Mother's Day, Reborn Father's Day, Reborn Parent Day, or something like that. It doesn't have to be like a national holiday that we're inserting our hobby into. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that's odd, um, that people do that. Like, I had to, like, get off of Instagram on Mother's Day, this recent Mother's Day, because people kept making these long posts about, um, how even though they're not a real parent, they still celebrate Mother's Day because they collect reborns. What? um, yeah, it just seems maladaptive to me, you know. Like it's just bizarre behavior. But what can you do about it? Like I said, I just got off of Instagram. I was like, this is a bit much. You're pushing the limits here. But personally, I think it's kind of offensive maybe to like parents or people who take that parenting role in someone's life for us as collectors who, you know, the ones that don't have actual children or do anything with actual children to sit up there and claim that as their day. I could rant about this forever, but it's just why? But yeah, no. So I will not like. I'm gonna straight up like if people do this year are like Happy Father's Day or comment something like that or message me something like that. I'm gonna be like, I'm not a dad. Like, stop. I'm not. Nope. Um. Yeah. No. Don't do it. Just don't. It's weird. It's also like it's so funny because I had someone comment this who's like not in the reborn world, came across one of my videos of me opening up a doll and we're really confused. um we're really confused about like what why people were saying congratulations when it was just a doll. And to be honest, I don't understand why people do that either because like they said, it's not a real baby, so why are you saying congratulations? I don't know. I think that doesn't bother me as much. It is strange, but it doesn't bother me as much because I know people are just trying to be nice and are welcoming a new doll to your collection. Um, yeah, that doesn't really bother me. It is funny though to think about it though. It's like, why are you saying congratulations? Someone you spent money and bought a doll. Congratulations? Question mark? I don't know. Um, it is really strange to think about. We're too busy parenting to care. Well, see, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, I think, yeah, a lot of people in the reborn community are just kind of strange with inserting themselves. But yes, I thought yeah, I will absolutely tell people, and people are gonna think I'm rude, being rude. But I'm like, I'm not a father, but I'm not. So why are you? No. And then, yeah. But those are the two holidays that are coming up that I'm like, I'm not really being a part of that. Hello. My hope is that my family starts to move away from Fourth of July too. Some of them have, so that's nice to see. All right. Yeah. So right now, you guys can't tell what I'm doing because again, it doesn't show up on camera. But I'm basically just adding a painted layer of hair to this baby's comby hair situation. I do usually about 3 or 4 layers of painted hair, and then I root on top of that um, on the front. And this is layer 2, so we got some ways to go. Um, because I most of the time when I'm doing, unless I'm doing something like a budget baby or something that I want to do quickly to sell, I'm doing, as you can see, I'm painting strand by strand. So it's time consuming, but it's definitely not as time consuming as rooting the whole head. Um, People say congratulations on a new purchase. That is big for some, especially with inflation and state of the world. I guess if you think of it that way, it makes sense. But anyone who doesn't like know about the community and know how expensive these dolls are, they're thinking of it in the way it's like you're congratulating someone for a new baby, which is not right. And that's how that person was thinking of it too, because, you know, they weren't a part of the reborn world. But yeah, it's always interesting, people where I work in an office. They all know about my dolls, and they always, ask questions about like who collects these dolls, what do people do with them. Um, and I explained that the community itself is it varies a lot of how people um, decide to interact with their dolls. So I always have to explain that it's not just like a one thing. Everyone does this. This is how everyone collects. Which makes things really hard for, again, people outside of it to understand. Like, so there's different, there's all different ways. And I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, so what kind of collector are you? I'm like, yeah, no, I don't pretend my dolls are real at all. I dress them up, and maybe every once in a blue room moon I'll take them out. But if someone were to stop me, I would say the doll is not real. So it's not, and then there's collectors who will just pretend like the doll is real, whether it's out of embarrassment or that's just how they role play with their doll. Um, yeah, I mean, I've been in this reborn world for a long time, so I've seen all types of collecting, and I share my opinions on that all the time because there's just some things that I don't understand. But, obviously once a doll gets out of my hands, I can't really tell someone how to interact with it, even though it was my work. So I try to, think of it that way. But that's also why I don't make anatomically correct dolls at all. And I refuse flat out. I will never paint an anatomically correct body plate, full body doll, anything like that, because you just don't know whose hands it's going to end up in. And even though it's a doll, it's the principle of it. What are, no. So you'll never see me do that. I don't trust people. I really don't. Because I've seen, believe it or not, I've seen gross people like that in this community, um, with records. And if you know what I'm talking about, like registered offenders. So, yes, they are out there. They are real people, and they are out there and try to hide within the reborn world. So, yeah, I don't paint anatomically correct because even if I trust the customer who originally I sell the doll to, they can sell that doll to someone else and not do the due diligence of looking into who they just sold the doll to. And now it's in the hands of an offense, like a offender. So no, no thanks. I'm good on that. Miss me with that part of the community, that a lot of people like to pretend doesn't exist. Um, I love the dollar got few. Some other ones are collecting nuts. That's so funny. I'm glad you're enjoying. I'm glad you are. I try to make all different types of skin tones. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself because at one point I wasn't getting darker skin tones, and now I'm doing everything from his skin tone, which is pretty light, to the real-born Charles that I did. So I'm pretty proud of my range, and how it's expanding, and I'm continuing to improve. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like, it's not easy, obviously, to do darker skin tones and still have it look relatively even. So that's definitely what I'm working on still. Um, but the custom that I'm finishing up today, the painting on, is a darker tone doll. So it's Harper by, what's her name? Andrea Arcello. I think that's her name. I don't know if it's the first edition or second edition Harper, because it just came to me. She just wanted a painted rooted kit, so I don't even have the body for her. But it's legit because it has the name on the back and everything. I just don't have the COA because she has all the customer has the COA and like the body and all of that. Yeah, so my customs are open, by the way. If anyone ever wants a custom, my turnaround is pretty quick. I usually get them done within 2 weeks. If it's a darker skin tone, it might take me a little bit longer, but I paint. My my what you call it? My coworkers at my actual job, like my salary. I have a salaried job. They are always in like awe of me because not only do I work like a full-time job, I come home after work and then I work on the dolls. And then on my weekends I also work on the dolls. So I'm always working on something. Um, but that's just how I am. I get bored if I'm not working on something or going somewhere or doing something. I get really bored. So especially that I live alone now, so I get bored. Let's see. How many make painting reborn doll today? I'm not sure what you're trying to ask. Are you asking how many I'm working on? Um, Finishing up the painting on one custom, then I'll start hair later on this evening on that one, and then starting one other custom and finishing up the hair on this baby who will be posted for sale tonight. Um, right now, I'm doing layer 2 of the painted hair portion of the comby hair on this baby. It's gonna have dark brown hair, comby hair. It's a super cute kit. Yes, it is. People like I posted the work in progress pictures of this baby yesterday, and people are like in love with this one. And I am too. I love how it came out. It's a really cute kit. It is probably one of my top favorite open-eyed kits, which is why I was so excited when I saw McPherson's re-released a few of the sold out kits, because this is definitely a sold out kit, um, for retail price. Which, oh, I wanted to also, for any of people who are reborn artists, talking about McPherson's, I've been trying out their new heat set mediums, and so far I'm really pleased with the thinning medium. I really like it. It's pretty similar to the Genesis thinning medium, but it's, I don't know how to, like, it's slightly different in that it kind of adheres a little bit better to the vinyl, I find. But what throws me off about this thinning medium is that it looks shiny forever until you bake it. So it's kind of hard to tell when it's ready to bake. But that's like the probably the only drawback I think for me so far. Um, but usually I use thinning medium when I'm doing things that need to be thicker. I know the name doesn't sound like that makes sense, but the thinning medium is what thickens up paint without making the paint more opaque, so without making the paint darker. Um, but it makes it so the paint doesn't run around. So I use it normally when I'm doing like blushing, lips, that kind of thing that needs to stay and not move around. So blushing on the hands and feet, and you'll see me do that in a second with the thinning medium. But that's kind of a little trick for you guys. But yes, so I'm pretty pleased because, you know, Genesis heat set paints are supposed to finally restock soon, but I don't know if I trust that because they've been saying that for like years now at this point, that they're going to be restocking and figuring it out, re-releasing the Genesis thinning mediums. So, but yeah, this is a great alternative. It's heat set, just like Genesis. So if you're looking for some new heat set mediums, definitely get these a try. I'm quite pleased. I was scared though because they're brand new. As far as like, not many people have tested them out, so I was like, "Oof, what if it's really bad?" But nope, it's excellent. So let me get some more paint. But yes, so they're on. They're, what are they called? These mediums. Kebelka, Kebelka, Kebelka mediums, heat set mediums, and those are on McPherson's. Now, I was a little bit nervous to start talking about them because I'm like, oh God, are they going to sell all out too? And then we're going to be at square one. But even if they do sell all out, it sounds like they're going to be able to restock them. How many layers Reborn Doll painting on kit? I really don't know what you're trying to ask. Are you asking how many layers of paint I've done? I don't really know what you're trying to ask. Because that I do not have an answer. I don't know how many layers it takes per skin tone because I don't count. Oh, great. Now I'm getting all these emails. It always seems to happen when I go live or I need to do something that finally I start getting notifications. Very strange how that works. But you can see I'm using a brush that I actually cut down myself um, to get the thickness I wanted for the strands. Almost done with this layer, and then we'll move on to my custom, and I'll show you how the Kebelka thinning medium works with the Genesis. There's also a video that McPherson's did showing how the product works as well, um, already up on YouTube. But since I need to use it anyway, I'll show you guys. I need to get more of these plastic bowls, honestly, because I just reuse the bowls over and over and over and wipe them clean if I need to try like change a color or do a different color. Um, I've been doing that for a while, but it's easier just to get some more of these little plastic disposable bowls. So my point is, don't judge me if when you see my bowls, they look rough, but they work. You can see that I'm like anchoring when I'm painting the strands. I anchor my finger on the head so that the strands and the paint goes where I want. Does anyone do anything interesting today? I know for most of us, if not all of us, it's Saturday morning. So, yeah, it's still morning technically for another 15 minutes here, anyways. My weeks pretty much go the same way. Like, I spend Saturday running errands, going places, and painting. And then on Sundays, I usually clean my apartment for the week. Even though, again, it's literally just me here and I don't make that much of a mess, but there's something so that feels so good about being able to clean your own place. When I lived with my mother, she is messy. She is so messy. So there's just something that's so cathartic about being able to clean my own space and know that it's going to stay relatively clean. Whereas when I would clean the condo when I lived with my mom, I knew she was just going to drop something and not pick it up anyway, like a few minutes later. And then we went back to me having to clean it again. um, so yeah, Sundays I usually clean, wash clothes, that kind of stuff. Um, I don't have like a full size washer and dryer, but I don't need one. I have ones that don't need hookups because this apartment does not have washer and dryer hookups, which would have been a drawback if I didn't know that there's like the portable dryers and the portable washers. So, nope, relaxing, waiting for night to get the party started. Oh, you guys. Oh, speaking of partying, fun. I am so excited, you guys. I'm probably not going to take a doll with me because it would just be too much. But we have booked a holiday, a vacation, me and two other of my friends for October. We're going to be going to Massachusetts from October 17th to the 21st, and I am so excited because this is the most far up north, the East Coast that I've gone. Um, and it's going to be in October. So, of course, we're going to Salem, Massachusetts, at least one of the days. Um, because, of course, that's like the best place to go during Halloween, during October. It's going to be so beautiful, and it's going to be so much fun. We're really excited. Um, I've never been to the New England area. The furthest I've been up that way is New York City. So I'm excited because obviously this is seeing new things for me. And, as I continue to work this job and, continue to have this nice source of income with both the reborns and my work, I'm going to start to be able to travel more. And I'm really excited about that because depending on the time of the year, I have the ability to, because I get earned vacation days every month. So that's what I'm using for this vacation in October is I'm using my vacation time that I'm going to be saving up until then so that I'm still getting paid even when I'm on vacation. I mean, this job is just so good. I love this job. I love the people I work with, and like I said, the benefits are just so good. So yeah, I don't even have to worry about like money because I'll still be making money just on vacation. Like what? That's so crazy to me. So yes, I'll be taking that as my vacation, my main vacation. And then on top of that, because of the job, we also get like almost 2 weeks paid off for Christmas and New Year's. So when that rolls around, I'm going to go visit my family up in Maryland. And again, not have to worry, am I going to get paid, blah, 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 taking off time and work. I get paid vacation. I'm so excited. It's so good. I love that. But yeah, so we've already got the hotel and we've already got our flights. We've already got the rental car that we're gonna have for all 5 days so that we can go up and down the coast. We can travel outside of Massachusetts because there's no like the car doesn't have a certain amount of max limits that you can put on it. So we're, all three of us have our licenses so we can take turns driving. Um, and obviously we all have car insurance, so if something happens, we're all insured. Which it shouldn't. We'll probably be fine. Two out of three of us are of drinking age, so that's gonna be nice. Unfortunately, my best friend's partner, significant other, is not quite gonna be of drinking age yet. They are gonna be less than a month away from being 21 at the time, so that's really annoying, but we'll work around that. I'm not going to say anything without, because I don't want any liability, but we're going to work around that. Because, like, that's ridiculous. Being less than a month shy of being 21. I hate it when it was like that for me. But that just means they'll probably be our designated driver if we go to some of the like pubs or something, because New England has a lot of great pubs, of course. Oh, but even then, we don't wouldn't even need them to be designated driver, because our hotel is right next to a restaurant that has a bar, like 400 feet away from one. So yeah. Anyway, but I'm like, as you could tell, I'm super excited because we're gonna be exploring, the coast. We're gonna be going on a ferry. Yeah, we're gonna be in Boston. Our plane lands in Boston, and we're gonna, be close enough that we can go to Boston a few days without issue. We're gonna be like 30 minutes outside of Boston, so um, yeah. And let me tell you, if you guys need a trip planned, I got you, because for our total for all 5 days, of course we still have to pay gas, but that's whatever. We're splitting everything 3 ways anyway, so it's not going to be that bad, even though gas is hell of expensive right now. Our hope is that by that time, gas prices will be down a little bit, as we're talking about, months away. Hopefully things will be a little bit better, but not banking on that. Either way, we're still going to be splitting all the costs 3 ways. So it won't be horrible. But total for each one of us for all 5 days, I'm talking about plane fare, um, like round trip. I'm talking about our rental car. I'm talking about the hotel, which is a nice hotel. Total per person came out to 419, and that's like with trip insurance included in case one of us gets sick. That's with like our baggage. That's like everything that you need to start a trip. So that's why I'm like, look, if you need a trip plan, I got you, because that's a great deal for 5 days. Like, um, so yeah, I was like, I got y'all. At first, my best friend was trying to plan it, and I was like, I got this, because I'm so used to planning trips by myself that I knew I could figure this out for more than one person, and I'm glad I did it, because I don't think we would have gotten as good of deals as we did if I hadn't planned it. I planned a vacation. Well, it was a short vacation with me and my best friend before, so they kind of knew that I knew what I was doing. When we went to Nashville for my 22nd birthday, um, I was able to get us really good deals for that trip, even though it was just a weekend. And then I also previously was able to plan a really cheap trip, and this was the furthest I've traveled still to this day, was when I went to the doll show, the Rose Doll Show in Utah. Um, I can't remember the exact total of what I paid, but I remember it was really cheap. And even at that time, I didn't have like a full time job, and I still wasn't really making money off of reborns at that point. Um, and it was still manageable as a college student. Um, it was really cheap. Yes, look, I might as well be a travel agent, because I was figuring out that I was like, we are not going to be paying arms and legs for this trip. We can do this. Um, I mean, if we could have, we will be fine, because my main thing about this trip is I didn't want to spend too much on the base costs, so that we can enjoy and do other things while we're there and not have to worry about our budget. Um, just by getting there. So like plane tickets, um, if we flew from Charlotte to Boston, we're going to be like, God, like they were like almost $400 round trip per person if we flew out of Charlotte. But then I realized we could fly out of Asheville, and then our round trip tickets were 140 each round trip. So stuff like that you gotta pay attention to, you know, and that is a direct flight, 2 hour long flight from Asheville, North Carolina to Boston and back. Both flights are direct flights for 140. So yeah, it's things like that you gotta pay attention to so you don't get got. Like if there's another airport nearby relatively that you can get to, um, yeah. And then we're also going to drive there from here, which I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live. Um, but we're going to drive to Asheville from here. And then we're going to leave my friend's car, who's driving us, at the airport. And it's only going to cost $50 to leave the car there for all those days. So that we have, and then we just come back, get our car, and come back home. So yeah, we figured out a lot of the logistics way ahead of time so that you save money. And I also use Priceline a lot and I bundle deals. So that's another like tip there. If you are planning a trip and want to save some money, it is 100% worth looking at Priceline or a similar site. But I found that Priceline is the best one, price wise. But bundling will also save you a crap ton. Um, what else? What else? What else? Oh, making sure you're in an area, that has parking is a big one too, because that's another big cost that people don't realize. That things like that will eat into your budget. If you're going on toll roads that you're traveling on, that's another one that you need to pay attention to. Luckily, Massachusetts doesn't really have that many toll roads that we would need to take to get from place to place. Um, and the hotel we're staying at has free parking. um, yeah, so really excited. Love Halloween. Yes, Halloween is the best. It's the best holiday by far. You live in Massachusetts. Awesome. If you have any recommendations, I'd love to know of where we should go. Because, like I said, we have the capability to drive wherever with that rental car. PTI costs more than RDU in North Carolina. Yep. I mean, it's just the prices are crazy. The difference in pricing from one airport to another is insane. And they're not even that far away from each other. So I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. I'm from Massachusetts. Highly recommend taking a Boston Harbor cruise with the Hornblower or riding the Godzilla. Okay. I will look into those. Yeah, we are definitely looking for, more things to do because obviously we know one day we're going to Salem. Don't know which one of those days. We have 5 days, so and Salem is 35 minutes, I think, from where we're staying. So it's not like it's going to be a hard thing to get there one of those days. But we're definitely going to Salem. I'm definitely going to the mansion that's in Hocus Pocus. You better believe I'm going to that. And we're gonna just explore some of the haunted scenes, probably, because of course we're. I always hate this, but we're being the most touristy tourists that we can be, and I don't think there's really much. I think people shouldn't be ashamed of that because there's reasons why certain places are tourist destinations because they're cool. Um, Scotland, but I love to go to Turkey because my work is over there. Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to travel outside of the US at some point. I just don't know when. Um, Eventually. And the problem is I don't want to go alone if I'm going to do that because that's a bit hard to just travel completely alone to a different country. Um, so that's also part of it. I'm like I have to find someone who can afford to do that with me. Um, because it can get pricey. Even if I'm planning it how I plan this one, it's still obviously you're going outside of the US, it's going to be a bit pricey. So yeah, it's just finding one of my friends who has the time to do that and then has the money to do that. That's the two things. Because again, I'm in a great position where I do have paid time off that I can take, as long as everyone else's schedules work out. My supervisor is so nice letting us take off as long as it's convenient as far as the workload for everyone else. So yeah, that's why I'm like, he's already been approved that I could take this trip in October, because we don't have any like big things going on that week that we have to do and have to have everyone there for. Um, and plus, I don't really take off time usually anyway, so like I work every day I can. I've only taken like one sick day since starting there in January. So yeah, I'm like always there. I even went back to work one day after I got like my eyes dilated and stuff. I still was at work. Um, but yeah, so that's what we're doing in October. Like I said, I don't think I'll be taking any of the reborns with me, because truly, I hate flying with reborns and having to be responsible and carrying them around, and it's just a bit much for me. So unless I'm going to a specific doll show or meeting up with someone with a reborn, um, I'm not bringing them. But on the other end of things, if I do, I have a friend who I've already met in person a few years back, so it's not like it's a stranger danger type situation. I know her. She stayed with me um, when I was in that studio apartment in Charlotte for that time. Do y'all remember that? I was there for like a month. Um, yeah, she came to her and a couple of my other reborn friends came to visit. So we all met in person and it was really fun. But she lives near Massachusetts. So I we might see, hopefully I'll see her at some point. Like we'll maybe meet up in Salem or something, somewhere that we can all, just a central location for us. Um, that would be great. I really hope to see her. It's been a few years since I've seen her at this point. So, and we go in groups. If we go on vacation, it's cheaper to package a holiday. Yeah, I just don't know that many people that would be able to do that. Yeah, it definitely is. I know that. Um, yeah, it's about finding people who can do that. Now, if they were like, "Hey, y'all want to go on a work trip?" Yes, that would be way easier. I almost did study abroad when I was still a student, but I didn't realize I could do that and get like some scholarships to cover that. So it was never like feasible to me. And then after I graduated, my nana goes, "Oh, I would have helped you pay for a study abroad semester." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." It's a bit late now, isn't it? But yeah, I would have been able to go to Spain or Mexico, because my university has a sister university in Mexico, so I could have gone there. We had a study abroad in Spain, and we had one in England, a few other places in Europe as well that I could have done, had I known what I know now. You know, they say hindsight is 2020, and that is definitely true. Um, yeah, I wish. Maybe one day. Yeah, I love doing meetups as long as, I trust the people. um, Got to protect yourself, of course. I see people that like just started talking on chat and then meet up, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys make me so nervous for your safety. Oh my gosh, I'm like, what in the world? So yeah, I don't do that. People are wild. They will risk their lives to meet up with people. I'm not a fan. The same thing with like my Facebook. If like people all the time, because they know my YouTube, they know my Instagram, they send me Facebook friend requests, and I immediately deny them. If I have never talked with you and you don't message me and you try to add me on my personal Facebook, that's going to be a fast decline. I don't know you. I don't know your intentions. I've never spoken to you. I'm not adding you because with my personal Facebook, that's like family and like close friends that I know in person and stuff like that, or that I've met. So it's like, why would I just randomly add you? Like, you don't talk to me. Um, yeah, it's weird. People do that constantly. I always get friend requests. I'm like, I don't know you, like, at all. And they'll have like one mutual friend, and it's someone else that I know in the Reborn community, but I have never talked or heard of this person. But they do that all the time. So if I've declined one of your friend requests, that's probably why, because I don't know you. People are weird. I just can't. I had a single white female situation happen. Oh gosh, yeah, nope. See, that's what I'm saying. It's dangerous. So dangerous. That's how you get stalkers. Yeah, that's ugh, so dangerous. But yeah, I get why they do it, because the Reborn community is so it's still such a niche collection or group of people that you want to reach out to someone who's like you. You want to reach out to people who understand like your love of the dolls, but at what risk are you willing to do that? And for me, I don't know you. I'm not talking. I will not add you, and I'm not meeting up with you. With my friends that we met up in Charlotte when I had that studio apartment for that month, we had been talking in a group chat for months and months up to that point. So, and like video chatted, and so yeah, I knew they were real people. I knew who they were, and we were familiar with each other, so that when we met up, it was just like, oh yay, finally we get to meet. Not like, oh my god, we're meeting these strangers. um, So that's layer 2. You cannot tell on camera, but it looks good in person. So that is layer 2. I'll let him sit for a second. Look at that cute little face. I can't get over his little face. And then I'll bake that in, and then we'll do probably layer 3 will be the last layer on his painted hair, and then I'll move on to his rooted hair later. Hello. So put him aside, and now we're going to work on finishing some of the painting on this custom. Let me get her legs, actually. Got some legs. Right now, I'm literally doing the finishing steps, the finishing details on this custom. So all the blushing, lips, and then nails will be the last step. I also do eyebrows all like in this same kind of step, but these finishing steps are the quickest. Um, but so this is what I use for my finishing steps. Well, I'm using now. It's the thinning medium. And then I just take a little bit. It looks really grainy and weird until you mix it up with the paint. Um, it's really thick, which is good. Then you mix it up with the paint and a little bit of my Gamsol thinner, and then you mix it up in a little bowl, and it gets this nice, thicker, not runny consistency, so that you can put it where you want it and it stays there. But it's still like transparent, so it's not gonna give you some kind of weird look to your doll. But this is Harper. She is a custom, so she's not available. Um, but she's super sweet. I love her little happy face. Um, which, for my personal collection, I wouldn't want a doll that had a permanent smiling. But I like painting them because they are fun to look at when you're painting them. Like, she's so happy. But you can see her lips are not really painted at all. is that's lips, blush, nails are always my last steps because I want to make sure that I get the skin tone correctly, and then I see what color I'm going to use for the blushing in the lips. So that's why you'll always see with my work in progress pictures of dolls I post that most of the times their fingertips are still blank and lips are still blank to the very end. A lot, you would be, I guess, not surprised about some people are like, I think that the fingertips need color. No, duh. That's why it's a work in progress. It's literally a work in progress. It's not done. But you would absolutely laugh at the amount of people that when I post work in progress pictures, they're like, don't you think that the lips need some color? Nah, I'm gonna leave them white. I'm gonna leave the lips and all the fingers and the bottoms of the feet. I'm just gonna leave it completely white because that makes sense. Um, yeah, I've had so many comments like that. It's ridiculous. I think people just don't use their thinking cap sometimes and just comment on things. And then the funny thing is, with that, I'm like, do you not see the other finished dolls I've posted that have color on their lips and hands? Like what? But yeah, so people crack me up when they say stuff like that to on my work in progress pictures. But yeah, a little funny thing for you. But that's kind of how my process works with the finishing steps. Um, with her in particular, her mouth is so detailed, like she has gums, a tongue, and lips. So I'm doing them like separately. So that's going to take a little bit longer than normally when it's just lips, because I want to do them slightly different colors. So it's not all just one color. So right now I'm working on the tongue and some of the lip layers specifically on her. And then I'll go back and do the lighter gum color because gums on babies are usually a little bit lighter. And then I'm also blushing her little hands and feet. Again, her coloring and details are not showing up on this live. I'm so sorry. I wish I could show you more on this live, but she's got a nice brown tone to her. I might deepen her skin tone, do one more layer of brown on her just to deepen her up a little bit more, and then do a yellow, uh, thin yellow layer just to bring out some more life to her. But we'll see. Um, you know what they say, sense ain't common and everybody don't have common sense. It surely seems like it. People have their own way of doing things. Well, yeah, but my thing is like, don't you see my other dolls are complete, and why would I? Who would just leave something completely blank like that? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, like you said, Pearly Mays says, um, common sense really isn't that common. Certainly not on the internet. But you can see like this paint doesn't run at all because of the consistency. And it stays where you want it, which is key when you're doing the hands and feet like this. And then obviously I blot off the excess like I do with any layer of paint with a cosmetic wedge, which I got these new cosmetic wedges and I love them because they are the right kind of consistency. Like they're not too soft and they're not too firm. I got them on Amazon and I got a bunch of them for not that expensive. They're called, I think, Cotton 2, like Cotton T's OO. So, yeah. All right. And then I use this little makeup brush to make sure the paint doesn't pool into the creases. But I've done this for years. This brush actually broke, and I'm still using it because it's still the best brush that I've found. And I need to I got it from not Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and I need to just go online and try to order some more of these brushes because we don't have a Family Dollar in this town. So, or I need to go somewhere that has a Family Dollar and just see if they have these brushes and just buy quite a few more of them. But they are absolutely by far my favorite like painting tool. They get right in those creases and get the excess right out. And they also create a nice blend too, if I need to, into the creases. Right, the words "work in progress" speaks for itself. Yes, you would think. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now, finishing up this little one. I think I've been working on her now. This is the second week, and I'm hoping to have her completely done Monday or Tuesday with hair. Um, it never takes me that long to root, um, especially because she's a newborn size, which is again weird. This is the weird thing about this kit in particular, that she has that expression of like she's smiling and stuff, but she's really small. She is, I think, 20 inches when she's put together. So yeah, she's one of those kits for me that I like her expression, but it also doesn't make sense for her size. Like when I first heard of Harper, which is this kit, I thought it was a bigger kit for sure. Like I definitely thought it was bigger. Not at all. So there's another layer of blush on that hand. You can maybe see kind of the difference between this layer of blush and this layer. I don't know. It's not really showing up on camera. Oh well. Um, I guess we'll see it at the end. I'll put some pictures, I guess, on here because a lot of people like. I know a lot of people don't have me on Instagram because they don't have an Instagram, so they never get to see unless I post the doll for sale on my Reborns. Oh, I post most of my dolls for sale on my Reborns.com account, by the way, nowadays, um, which is where Yael will go today, hopefully. I have a feeling he's going to sell pretty quick, though. That's my hope anyway. But Ephraim is still available. She is fully rooted. So if you're looking for a baby with nice, curly, fully rooted hair, check out Ephraim. It's a sold out kit as well. Um, and yeah, I think she came out well. She's been available for a week, which, you know, it's not too unusual for this time of the year, but I would like to see her find a home. I really try not to complain that much when dolls take a bit to sell because relatively my dolls sell pretty fast. I know people whose dolls sit for like several months, and it's not even that they're not well done. It's just, I don't know, something about some people's dolls just sit. Uh, so I try not to complain because usually my dolls sell within a week or two, which is why if you constantly check my reborns.com account, you'll see that my dolls are sold usually. So I'm very appreciative of that. But there are a few dolls, like there was one doll recently, I can't remember which one it was, that took over a month to sell. And I was like, why? I don't know why it's taking so long. But, you know, with things are how they are in the US right now, that's still pretty fast for a luxury item to sell. Something that doesn't need, it's not a necessity. It's still pretty quick that it's sold. You know, I think it took 6 weeks to sell. I forgot which one it was that took 6 weeks. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty lucky and super appreciative. I also try to price my dolls really well because, you know, like I said, this isn't my main source of income. So it's not like I'm trying to make a crap ton of money off of them. I really, really just want to get dolls of color out there for an affordable price. So that's also probably another reason why my dolls sell relatively quickly because I like to think that they're decent quality and decently priced personally. and I always include a small box opening with them as well, just as a little added thing. Oh, that's another exciting thing I wanted to tell you guys. I love that I'm doing this. Um, I'm so excited for this. I just wanted something else to make my dolls more unique and stand out even more as an artist. So, um, I'm going to be working on starting this with my new outgoing dolls, but I'm going to be making little felt stuffies to go with the dolls, and they're going to all be like one of a kind, different colors, different little animals. So I got a whole bunch of felt, and I have stuffing already for because I it's gonna be the same stuffing that I use in all the dolls. But I've got like a lot of little different colors. Um, Most of them are gonna be more neutral colored though. But I got some pops of color, um, felt sheets. I'm gonna sew them together. And then I got this big. So if you don't go to Michael's or you don't have a Michael's, you don't know, but you get rewards, so you get coupons. Like I didn't even realize I had one. I had a $5 coupon just because I shop there sometimes, and so I was able to get all these like felt for like I think $10, like all this, and this is like a lot of sheets of felt. So yeah, I'm gonna be making little stuffies. Like they're probably gonna be like that big. I'm thinking, just so that I can make a bunch and not take forever on them. But it's just another little thing I think that'll set them apart. And then I got also this, all of this was $10 total. So I got these, the felts, and I got these on clearance. They're like little, they're raffia, so that I can do like hair details or something like on them. Like I'm envisioning doing one as like a little lion stuffy to go with one of the dolls that I'm finishing. Probably Yael will go with like a little lion, so I can make like a little mane out of the cordage, the raffia. I think that's gonna be really cute. And then I got some pom poms for like the little noses on the little stuffies that I'm gonna add on there. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really cute and really special to send home with my dolls. Um, and just, yeah, so I'm excited about that. And then depending on how this goes, I'm going to maybe start making more elaborate ones. But we'll see. We'll start off with just some simple little ones. They're not going to be like 3D. I don't know how to explain it. They're going to be relatively still a little flat. Like they're going to be like probably like that thick. They're not going to be like, round stuffed animals. They're just going to be little stuffy, that they can use as little props to put in their hand. Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning anyway. I just wanted to get more creative with more than just the painting aspect. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Something like that too, as well, to have that it's, from me on there. But I mean, yeah, it's something cute and unique. I can't even remember what exactly inspired me. I think I was looking at like a crib mobile, and I was like, oh, you know what? That would be kind of a cute thing to do as little individual stuffies to send home with dolls. So like, I'm gonna do one that's a crane, like a little crane bird. Um, yeah, and they're all gonna be like unique, like I said. But yeah, that's another fun thing that I'm working on starting with Yael. He gives me, I don't know why immediately when I saw him, I think that might be also true of the dolls I continue to paint now, that I'm gonna think of little animals when I see them. And he immediately, when I finished him, I was like, he's gonna have a lion that goes with him. I'm thinking lion. And I don't know how to explain it, but that's what I feel from him in particular. He gives me lion vibes. So I'm gonna also work on that today because got all day, so might as well start making some of the little stuffies as well, and that way he can have it with his pictures. Um, yeah, this is me just announcing this. I haven't even um, talked about this on my Instagram that I'm doing this little cute thing with my new dolls going out. Another layer on the little foot. This kit has such cute limbs, like the little chunky feet. Super cute. And I love the way that this thinning medium works. It gives it nice even color, which Genesis thinning medium sometimes wouldn't give super even coloring. Can't wait to see them. Yes, I'm excited. I hope people are excited when they realize that each one is going to be unique. Just like the dolls, each one is unique. Yeah, it's a good thing I know how to sew as well, because um, imagine I didn't, and I like what would I have done, like liquid stitch or something, or like hot glued them together. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I've known how to sew for a very long time. I might get a sewing machine because that would obviously make things a bit quicker. Um, but no, I think there's something charming about hand stitching them um, that I think will go over well with collectors. So no, I won't go to get a sewing machine for that. At least I think eventually though, what I'm gonna do is get those little quilt squares and start making little clothes for them, like a scarf. If it's like wintertime, I'm gonna start doing stuff like that probably with them as well. I think that would be really cute. And then like do kind of maybe a matching accessory for the doll. That would be even cuter. I'm starting to come up with even more ideas here. And that's something I could do like while I'm waiting for the doll's paint to dry, like one of the layers to dry. I can also be working on that whole idea. All right. Well, his head is going to go into bake, and then we're going to start the veins on my other custom. Okay. All right. So, matching pacifier clip. Possibly that would be a good idea. I could definitely do that. Um, that wouldn't be that difficult either. Okay, now this kit I don't particularly like, but it is a cute kit, and that's not the reason why I don't like it. I don't like this kit because it's the realborn, the real baby that the realborn is supposed to be modeled after does not look like this. Like the real baby does not look like the real born at all to me. So it's so funny. But that's kind of why I don't like this kit. But it is a cute kit. And this is a custom order. So obviously I haven't started quite anything on it yet, but I'm going to be starting the veins, which is always my first step, is veins, because you want that to look like it's under the skin, so it's got to be under the skin layers. um, I always do that first, so that's what we're going to do. Yes, I am live. Hello. I am not on Twitter. I have too many social media already. So let's start the veins. I just use the pre-mixed vein color, and I mix a little bit of thinning medium and a little bit of thinner into it. You give me ideas. Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely open up for ideas with that. I think, you know, people will be super excited with whatever I choose to do with them, because, they're not paying extra for it. It's just me being nice. I'm just mixing up the vein color right now. And then I blend, of course, the veins. I used to use a really small brush, but I found that makes the veins like look wrong. I follow your true for a fantasy doll I'm working on. They're amazing. Oh, thank you. Crochet dolls of color. Ooh, cool. Yes. I always. You can also buy test limbs as well for really cheap if you didn't want to just buy a whole kit to work like practice on. They make test heads, test limbs at some of the different reborn supply shops. That's always a good cheap option as well. But yeah, I used to use a super thin paintbrush, and I actually found that made things look really weird because it made the veins look like they were like pinned on, put on with like a pin. So I find that the thicker paintbrush gives a more realistic under the skin vein look, even though our veins, especially baby veins, are thinner. Where did I put that? There it is. And I blend my veins as I go, as you can see what I'm doing right now. Now, where I still struggle is, I still struggle with trying to make them not too dark and not making them too light that they don't show up at all and it was like a waste of time. It's a really hard balance, especially with the lighter toned ones that I do. It's like so hard to make it the right color, right intensity. Okay. I don't do really that many veins because I find that too many veins makes them look kind of crazy. So I always just do a few veins in some key places on the head and then on the arms, uh, legs, hands, feet. And I'll show you that too. This is kind of like a mini tutorial, I guess, with how I really do stuff nowadays. Because those videos are, great from a beginning point, but I do paint a little bit differently, I think, than what I used to back then. I was really new artist back then, but I found that, no one had made videos like that at all about painting dolls of color, like step by step by step. And so even though I knew I was extremely new, I was like, gotta make something, say something about what I do currently. You can't. You can kind of see his veins, like I just did. Yeah, you can kind of see it. So that's on his head. His limbs are really cute. They're like chunky. He's got one little cute hand that's a little bit open like this. And then one that's just a fist. So many other artists keep their tips under lock and key. So it's cute. Yeah, that I think I made a whole video about how I hate that. There's so many artists that will gatekeep information like that. I'm like, dude, if you're that concerned that someone's gonna be able to do your work better than you, then you're in the wrong community. Like you're in the wrong art form. There's always going to be someone. Just don't be an artist at all, because there's always going to be someone who is better than you, and it doesn't matter if you share your tips or not. Like, um, there's always going to be someone who can figure out what you do and do it better than you. So that's always bothered me because it's like if you tell them I use this paint technique, they're not going to be they're even then they won't be able to replicate your work perfectly. You can tell someone exactly what you do, and if they are not you, it's not going to be your work. But I think a lot of people don't see it that way. They're just like, I'm not giving away my tips in secret because people are going to steal my techniques and I won't make any more money. um, but that's just kind of way people think. Flawed way of thinking, if I do say so myself. Or they want to charge you a bunch to just watch them just put a paint layer on and take it off, like blot off the excess. Are you kidding me? Why are you charging me $500 just to watch you put a layer of paint on it and use a cosmetic wedge like everyone else does? Like, I don't understand. Or they won't even tell you what colors they use. Like, what? Oh my gosh, it's a color. You're really gatekeeping a color right now. Um, but yeah, whatever. That is definitely what a lot of artists will do. They love to gatekeep information and then wonder why there's not. Specifically, this is true of artists that do darker skin tones. And then they'll complain of why there's not a lot of people doing these skin tones. Because you don't like to share like at all what you do. And then wonder, like I said, why there aren't people doing those skin tones. Like even sharing the color, I guess you don't have to share exactly what you do, but you could share the colors you use. Um, but that's, I'm very passionate about that because I'm like, why are you making it so much harder for diversity to exist in this world? So I just did veins on the top of the hand, on the other underside of the hand, going up into the fingers, and then on the shoulder part. And then I do that on the other arm as well. But let me go get his head out of Yael's head out of the oven so he can cool down a little bit. And we can do another layer of paint. And yes, I do bake inside in the same room here, but as you can see, the door is open. It's open. It's got great airflow. My fan is going, and I haven't had any issues. So don't come for me for that. And a lot of times, depending on um, how the airflow is going, I'll even open the window in here because obviously there's a window in here as well. So I try to keep it pretty safe, even though I bake inside. I think a lot of people bake inside though, like in their house. and are fine. Every now and then you'll hear someone who's like claims they have like a horror story about how they used to bake and paint with Genesis inside, and now they have lung problems. But honestly, I'm like, do you have correlation is not causation? That's like a big thing in science. And so I'm like, did you really get lung issues just from that, or is there something else that caused that? Because otherwise, a lot more of us would have breathing issues, would we not? um, so I'm always skeptical about when I hear stories about that. They're like, people are like, oh, now I have horrible lung issues because I use Genesis inside. Um, yeah. So, but just to be safe, I always have ventilation anyway, because anytime you're baking something, you want to have ventilation anyway, even if it's not with chemicals or anything. Yeah, you have a question about creases? Yeah, what's up? What's a good ratio for thickener and to thinner when you mix your colors for creases? So this is I like to have my paint for creases really thick, so I'll put very little thinner or thinning medium in the mixture so that I get a nice thick layer, thick paint consistency, because you don't want your creases to run all over the place. And then what I do is I'm using this brush, as you can see, I buff out the excess so that it gives that kind of blended look to it and gets rid of a lot of the excess paint that way. But yeah, I like the paint to be pretty thick. Don't know exact ratios, but yes, I like it pretty thick. I got. I also got the Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm using now. Um, and so far I really like it. So I think it's great. And I'm excited that they were able to come up with, alternative. I wish it didn't take this long. I mean, it's been like 2 years now that Genesis has been out of stock. And I've been having to buy thinning medium every so often off of someone else and hoping that I don't get overcharged. Because people, but I mean, it was bad. Like, it has been pretty bad. Like, on eBay, people were like selling little jars of Genesis thinning medium for like 4 times the price. And I'm sitting here like, y'all are crazy, and y'all are gonna look real ridiculous once it finally restocks and you were taking advantage of people like this. Um, but that's true of any scarcity situation. People are going to take advantage of it. But no, I refuse to buy from people like that. So I would find other artists, who were selling thinning medium for, slightly more, but not really ridiculous prices. So that's the veins on this arm. Yeah, you definitely started at a good time. Uh, it's been very much like the Hunger Games out here with like thinning medium and like especially matte varnish. The Genesis matte varnish situation has been pretty bad. I don't use Genesis matte varnish for my dolls. I use this thing called, it's from Americana brand. It's an air dry varnish, and it's soft touch varnish. That's what I use. Because if you use the Genesis matte varnish just a little bit too thick, it makes them feel gritty, and I just don't care for that. Um, but with the soft touch, it gives them a nice velvety finish. Um, so that's typically, what I will do. Even though, it's interesting though, as long as you bake Genesis heat paints correctly, the Genesis people say technically you don't even need varnish unless it's shiny. Um, So you could get away without using it, but it's risky, especially as a new artist, to do that because you want to make sure your paint is actually baked properly. And that's a big thing that a lot of people mess up on. Don't bake it long enough or bake it at the right temperature. I bake every layer, and I bake at 265 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 minutes. A lot of the websites will say like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, but I do 12 minutes for each layer. Except for if I'm doing a thin layer that's just it's just thinner, paint thinner, and it's a really thin layer, then I'll probably do 9. Like I do with his hair layers. It doesn't need to be in there for 12, so I just do 9. But even still, that's, a pretty good amount of time to ensure that it's baked in. Okay. McPherson's has a lot more stock than I expected, like the variety of their colors. Yeah, yeah. I nowadays I don't really shop from Bountiful Baby anymore. I used to when I first started. They were like my primary go-to. Um, but now it's McPherson's for sure. Um, yeah, most of the time. Genesis Look Live Varnish. I have not used it. I just haven't had a need to use it, so I haven't tried it out yet, so I have no idea. Oh yeah, oof, that's definitely too. Um, that's definitely the wrong temperature. Oof, that could have been bad if you tried to sell a doll and you had it baked at the wrong temperature. But yeah, that's one of the things that is a very common like beginner mistake is they don't realize you have to bake it at a certain temperature or else it's not gonna stay with heat set paints. I still need Bountiful Baby for kits because they're cheap when on sale. But yeah, I love McPherson's. Did you see my video about that topic in particular? Um, don't be fooled. You're actually not saving that much money if you shop at Bountiful Baby versus McPherson's. You're really barely saving. You probably save like $30. Um, so it's up to you, of course. I still like a lot of Bountiful Baby's kits. But even when they're on the Realborns, which is almost all I buy because they have detail to them, you know, even then on sale you're only saving literally $30, and not even now because I think they've increased the price of their shipping, their flat rate shipping even more now. So I don't even know. I would have to recalculate now. But you're definitely not saving that much money. Even on sale. Unless you buy one of their regular kits, then you'll save some money. But on the other hand, McPherson's also has cheaper kits nowadays that are pretty competitive on price to Bountiful Baby. And they don't charge that flat rate shipping, which is nice. So it's up to you, but I personally am moving more and more away from using Bountiful Baby unless I get a custom order or I really, really like one of the Realborns. Then, like some of the new Realborns that they still have not released yet, I do really enjoy them and I will probably buy them. But yeah, I'm not going to be buying from them consistently anymore. Um, just no point. No point. Like a lot of times I do prefer their bodies, but there's just no point. Why am I a lot of times now the shipping is going to be more than the bodies. Like what? What? In what world does that make sense? So, because they almost always have the bodies on sale for like $10, and now the flat rate shipping is $14.95. So you're paying more for the shipping than the bodies. Unless you get more than one item, it's not worth it. It's really not. I'm just waiting for my job and more money coming in to buy the one kid I won from. It's an Asian reborn. Oh, are you talking about which one? There's I think there's two different Asian reborns. I think maybe. I know there's Leilani. I think she was Asian. Can't remember. A lot of them look the same, so it's kind of hard to remember which ones are which realborns because a lot of them look very, very similar. Because a lot of them are related. Layla, okay, Layla Awake. But isn't Leilani? I think Leilani Yawning is also Asian. I can't remember. McPherson's has cute heads, yes, but steer clear. I always warn people: steer clear of the Bonnie Sieben ones. That woman. I mean, you can buy them if you want. It's really your prerogative. That's what I always kind of say. But she's very controversial. Like really controversial. Um, as far as a sculpture. So a lot of people, including myself, will not buy her kits, and a lot of people, collectors, will not purchase finished real reborns by her kits. So you just have to be careful with that. Um, so just be aware of that. A lot of the cheap kits they have, for whatever reason, they're working closely. I don't know if McPherson's doesn't know about the things she's done or posted, or they just don't care, which is really, I don't like that about that situation, but they're working very closely with her recently for those cheap kits. Um, and it's really kind of a little bit upsetting, but if they don't know, they don't know. So I don't know. I don't really want to be the one that explains to McPherson's why people don't like her. But maybe eventually I will just say something to the owners, um, so that at least they can't lie and say they didn't know she posts these type of things. Um, it's Bonnie Sieben. If you look on McPherson's, the cheap kits, most of the Cuddle Baby heads are by her. And first of all, I don't even think she's that great of a sculptor. Her kits all look kind of weird to me, but she's done a bunch of them for McPherson's. Uh, do not confuse her with Bonnie Brown. Bonnie Brown's a great woman, and she's a very, very nice and very, very talented. Two different Bonnies. Um, People kind of get confused with that. I'm like, no, 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 no. Do not get them confused. They're very different people. Um, it's Bonnie Sieben. That's the one that I refuse to paint her kits. Um, to make a long story short, I don't think I've ever made a video about this. I don't know. I always mention it on my Instagram every now and then so people don't forget. But like last year or something like that, or I'm sure she was doing this way before that as well. But she, on her public Facebook, like it's one thing if you have these thoughts, but if you're trying to make it as a business person and you share these thoughts publicly, you're gonna get the wrath of people being upset that you're posting these quote unquote opinions. Um, but last year, primarily, and like I said, likely before that, she posts a bunch of things on her public Facebook about how she doesn't believe racism is real. All these things about black people that were like very much, if not racist, very much on that borderline of where it's ignorant. Um, and of course, I have all these screenshots um, of these posts that she made, but it was like a lot of them. Like she just kept posting things, and people, black people, specifically black collectors, were like, "Are you kidding me?" Like she was denying that racism ever existed in America. Um, and she's very, very, very anti Black Lives Matter. which is always a red flag for me because obviously, if you're very much anti that kind of movement, you don't understand what the movement's about. Um, a lot of people think that's, about excluding other races because you're a lot of people think that Black Lives Matter means only Black Lives Matter, which is literally the opposite of what it means. But yeah, she posts like crap ton of stuff about Black Lives Matter and how it's racist to have black only, or have Black History Month. She thinks Black History Month is racist. Um, yeah, just like really unhinged, crazy stuff like that she posts all the time. I'm sure she still posts stuff like that on her Facebook, but I'm sure she's made it private so only her friends can see it. Um, but she used to post stuff like that publicly. So people started noticing that and they were like, oh my God, what is wrong with you, woman? Like, do you know nothing about the struggles of people of color? And the thing about her in particular, she sculpts kits that are specifically meant to emulate black babies. So it makes it even worse that she's posting these things about black people and she's making kits that are supposed to be directed at us. Um, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about that woman. She is absolutely crazy. Unhinged is the best way to put her. Um, and the thing is, I get people, depending on their walk of life, can be ignorant about the struggles of black people if you're not a black person or you haven't been around a lot of black people to hear their stories and know that racism is in fact real. I have experienced it firsthand. I live in North Carolina. I have experienced racism. Um, but the sheer fact that people were pointing it and like trying to explain to her why her posts were wrong and harmful, and she would just block them or try to argue that they don't understand her. So that's my thing. Like if she stepped back and actually listened to people who were trying to explain to her what was going on, I would have been like, "Oh yeah, she's learning." And then I could still support her kids. But she didn't. And still to this day, I don't think she's ever apologized or tried to understand why what she was doing was super hurtful. Um, to the community and to black people in general. Like it's so offensive. The things that she was posting were so offensive. Like one of her worst posts that she made was about abortion and Black Lives Matter, and she was like, I guess Black lives don't matter to when people are getting abortions, like when we're accepting abortions, like something crazy like that. I don't remember the exact wording, but I have that screenshot of that post that she made. And I was like, what the hell? These things aren't even remotely related. Um, and just, yeah, crazy woman. But that's Bonnie Sieben. That's why a lot of people do not paint her kits. Um, just I will not. You will not catch me dead painting one of her kits. So, yeah. But it's kind of hard because sculptors are real people and you have to make that decision for yourself if you're going to try to separate the artist from the art. And personally, I can't do that. I absolutely cannot separate the artist from the art because guess where your money is going to? It's going to the artist, supporting them having this platform to say these things that actually harm people. So, yeah, I can't just say, you know what, no, I just like their work. I don't like them as a person, but I'm still going to buy their sculpts and paint their sculpts. They get paid for that, like, no, thank you. I don't want my money going to someone who thinks racism isn't real. So, but like I said, it's up to y'all. I'm not going to tell anyone not to do it, but I just warn people ahead of time that if I if they're thinking about purchasing one of her kits, or if they've already bought one of her kits, I'm like, well, for your future reference, this is who she is, and this is what she did publicly. I'm sure there's a lot more sculptors out there that I just don't know what their stances are because they haven't shared their stances. And for now, I'm going to continue to just paint kits as long as I don't know anything about that sculptor, that they've done anything harmful. Um, because you can only do what you know with the knowledge you've been presented. So I never like get on people who have painted Bonnie Steven kits not knowing how she is, because you didn't know. And if you were gonna make that decision to paint that kid, you would have not known at that point probably. Especially because she has made a lot of those posts private, or try to bury them over the past like year and a half. So I'm curious to see though if she continues to post stuff like that. She has me blocked because I tried to explain to her. I was like, "This is not cool, and this is why." And of course, she blocked me. So, um, oh, and if it makes you feel any better, she also has a lot of transphobic friends and supports them as well. So that's also another thing that's even worse. I mean, not even worse, but it's also adds to the me not wanting to ever support her, is that people were making transphobic comments on her posts, and she was edging them on like liking the comments and like stuff like that. So, but yeah, let's do one more layer on little Yael's little head here. This should be the last painted layer, I think. And then I'll do some rooted hair on the top part right here. Have a good one, of course. I always tell people what's going on when I know information. So, yep. Okay. But yeah, let's do one more layer and see how that looks, and maybe one more depending on how this third layer. This is layer 3 of the painted hair, and you can't see it very well because it shows up weird on live, but it looks pretty good to me in person. I think I'm gonna put Bryson in the oven. I think his veins are dry enough that I can go ahead and pop him in the oven while I'm doing this. Yeah, he looks good. Let me put him in there. I'm still waiting. I'm still like trying to like wait on the customer to tell me exactly what she wants his skin tone to look like. I messaged her earlier because I'm not going to start his skin tone layers until I have an example of what she means by the skin tone. Because that's going to determine what base colors I use for him. Because all she said was that she wants a medium brown skin tone, and that's so subjective. So I don't like people when people do that. They're just like, they ask me to do a custom and they're like a medium tone or a light tone. I'm like, can you give me an example, please? So I'm waiting for her. So I won't be doing anything else on him in this live likely until she responds with an example of one of my skin tones um, that she wants him to emulate. Yeah, so I'm kind of at a standstill with him right now because of that. I'm just waiting for her to respond with some information, like a picture. Because, I mean, some people would consider him, you can't see his skin tone that well, but some people would say that he's medium skin tone. So, like, but I don't think that's what she means. And then some people would say that the Harper I'm working on is a medium skin tone. But to me, this is a darker skin tone, like a medium dark skin tone, if I was going to say specifically. Um, but some would call him medium. Some people will call me medium. Some people will call me light skin tone. So you know what I mean? Like it's so subjective that I'm not gonna make any assumptions of what she means until I get a picture of an example of a skin tone that I've already done, so I know how to start him and know how to paint him. So Bryson is going to be set aside for the rest of this live uh, because of that. So, but we can continue on with Yael because this is not a custom, and I knew exactly what I was doing when I wanted to paint this baby. Oh, I can't get over how cute he is. He's so cute. Look at that little face. His little brown eyes are so cute too. Um, he's just so cute. If I liked open-eyed kits, I would probably keep him, but I don't know. I don't really like them um, for collecting because they just they're open-eyed all the time. But he is super duper adorable. So if you're interested, he will be available soon today, likely. I'm estimating he'll be done. What time is it? Probably around 6 today. I'll be posting his finished pictures. Now, his head won't be attached completely because the glue will still be drying inside of his head, but I usually post them finished before that because it takes like less than a day for the glue to dry and they'll be ready by Monday to ship anyway. So what I do is I usually just pop their heads on and take pictures and then keep their head off while the glue is finishing drying. That's a little trick for you guys if you want to get a doll listed over the weekend. Okay. I wish you could see in greater detail. What exactly I'm doing. With this layer, I'm just adding more depth to the painted hair, more color. And then I'm going to do some more of the painted hair that makes it look thinner, like barely there hair, but still not bald spots, if that makes sense. I don't know. You'd have to see it to understand, I guess, unless you do understand what I'm saying. Like hair where I still paint where I want it to look like there's thinner hair. I just use lighter layers. Like around, he's gonna have thinner hair right around here, around his temples, in a sec when I get to that. And when I'm painting here, I just use Gamsol. I don't use any thinning or thick medium. Some people use thick medium when they're painting hair. I don't because it doesn't give me the consistency that I really want, which is super thin and a bit watery, but not too watery because it'll just run or it'll look like a blob. But I want it to be movable still. It's really hard to explain consistencies. I'm still trying to decide if I want to go out anywhere today because I do really do need like a bookshelf to go at the end of my hall, but I also don't feel like driving anywhere. um, and we do have, buses in this town, but I live on the top of a pretty big hill, and that would be like impossible to walk down to the bus stop and back with a bookshelf. So I would have to drive to get it. I don't really feel like driving today, honestly. That might be a thing for me to do tomorrow or Monday. Yeah, it's so tedious, but so is rooting, so I don't mind it. Usually, when I'm doing this, I'm listening to music or listening to a podcast or something anyway, so it's not as bad. Like right now, because I'm live, I can't do that because that's how you get copyright claims. YouTube is so annoying when it comes to copyright strikes. Like if you play just a little bit of a song, um, someone will claim it as a copyright strike, or they'll take your proceeds, not your proceeds, but your money that you earn. What is that called? You know what I'm talking about. They'll take that from the video. Monetization. Yeah, there we go. Not that I make really anything from YouTube. I don't have enough subscribers to really make a consistent amount from YouTube. So rest assured, most of what I'm doing is just for fun, and because I enjoy making videos, not for the money. It's definitely not for the money. Uh, I think people would be so disappointed if they realize how little you make from YouTube. Unless you have a certain amount of subscribers, you won't be making much. Uh, where is that bowl? I'm looking for something. Sorry. Let me. Ah, there it is. Okay. But yeah, usually I would go somewhere today. I'm not feeling it. Plus, the hotter it gets up here, the more I want to stay in and just sit in front of a fan or under a fan. I hate the heat, y'all. I can't stand summer. I really cannot. It's so miserable. I don't have AC in this apartment, so most places in this area don't have AC because back when a lot of these apartments were built, uh, temperatures were cooler. You didn't need AC as much. People deny that global warming is a thing, but there's definitely been a temperature change here over the past like 30 years. Um, a lot of these apartments were built, like I said, before that happened, before the temperature started to rise. So unless you get a updated apartment out here, which are really expensive, um, or you get a new apartment that also is very expensive, you're not going to get AC in this town. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Um, Thank you, Trisha. Yeah, but AC is a rarity in this area because of that. But you can also, I'm thinking about like going ahead and just dealing with it, investing in one of those portable AC units. They're usually around like $200, $300, which is why it's like an investment. But if I'm gonna use this for years to come, it won't be. It probably be worth it. But I haven't decided if I'm gonna do that yet because it is really only super hot for a few months, like 2 months up here, and then it goes back to being tolerable. Um, so it's like 2 months a year. I would only use it, and I'm like, is that worth it? I don't know. So we'll see. I might break and just get one because I might be just so miserable one day that I'm just like, okay, I can't deal with this. I got to get an AC unit. Stat. My coworker also is in the same situation, and they ended up getting an AC unit and they love it. One of the portable ones. Um, so we'll see. Okay. Wow. So far, I have been live for 2 hours, just working. I'll probably go off live soon after this so that I can really focus on finishing this custom order, the Harper one that I'm working on, and starting his rooting on his hair, because that I really do need to focus for. This part, painting hair, I can obviously chat and do that, but rooting, I like to pay attention to a little bit more of the where my hands are going, because that's a quick way to stab yourself, um, with the rooting needle. When I root, though, I'm always listening to like an HGTV show, um, which is kind of silly because a lot of HGTV is so visual. You're like looking at houses, but I'll glance up every now and then because most of it is just talking about the house and what they're doing to update houses, um, and not really showing the house as much. Um, so I'll just glance up every now and then to see the progress on whatever HGTV show I'm watching. Because the most important part with looking at that show is the beginning of, where they showed the house before, and at the end of the episode when they show all the improvements that have been made. Okay, let me get. I'm gonna get to a stopping point so I can get Bryson, who you heard just finish baking, out of the oven so that he can cool. And like I said, I'm gonna set him aside for a bit till I get an answer from the customer about the skin tone. Okay, I'm about halfway through this layer of his painted hair, so let me go grab Bryson real quick. Bryson, my hands, if you notice, I just grab them out the oven even though they're hot because my hands have gotten, over the 3 years I've been painting, it doesn't even bother me anymore. Like the heat, my hands are fine. Like when I grab them out of the oven, they're at 265 degrees Fahrenheit. But I just like grab them out, as you saw. Um, my hands just got so used to the heat. But when I first started, yeah, I definitely saw. I used to do it where people would have to grab them out of the oven with like a washcloth or something, or some kind of cloth to protect their hands. Nope. I just go in there. It's fine. Okay. think I think he's going to be one of my favorites. that I've done. Oh, I also wanted to show you guys my new doll, my new collection doll that I painted and finished for myself. I don't think I've shown her on my YouTube channel yet. Question mark? I don't know. Because I don't think she was finished quite yet. I don't know if I've showed her on here yet. She's on my Instagram for sure. I posted her a few times on there as I was working on finishing her as well. But after I finish this layer, I'll show you her and then I'll go off live. And just leave this up for people to watch back. I enjoy watching people's lives back, and just because it, like I said, I listen to videos in the background, and if I'm just listening to someone, that also is really nice to make time go by a little bit quicker. I'm curious if people have big plans this weekend. I know up here it's going to be nice this weekend. Um, it's really nice today. I think it's not supposed to rain at all. Could be wrong. It's almost always rainy at some point here during the day. Because where I live, it's technically a type of rainforest climate, so we get lots of rain, lots and lots of rain, which does help cool it down a little bit, but not as much as you would think because of the humidity. Oh my gosh, the humidity. It's funny. I often think because my neighbors, this wall in here is connected to my neighbor's apartment. This is our shared wall is in this room. I have to wonder what they think about what I'm talking about like half the time. So I'm sure they hear me. Um, I have to wonder what they think about me when they're home and they hear me talk about the dolls and stuff. Almost done with this layer. Woo! Okay. Super tedious. Strand by strand. Painting of the hair. Like, I think if I was on their end as like a neighbor who didn't know really much about the dolls, I would think my neighbor is insane. I would think, what is wrong with my neighbor? But hey, the way I look at it, everyone has a weird hobby, and if you don't, you're kind of boring, aren't you? That's why I tell everybody, about the dolls. Like when I go on dates with girls, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, I make realistic dolls. What about it? I don't pretend they're real. I'm not crazy. I know what they are. They're art. And usually people are like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. That's fine. I was, if you recall, my tips for drawing or painting reborn hair: patience, layers, thin layers, patience, and layers, and making your own brush. So cutting down a brush to um, the amount of bristles that you want for each strand um, is probably my tips. But mostly, it's got to be patience in layers. But that's really true of any reborn painting. Really, is patience and not layers that are crazy thick. But yeah, anyway, as you guys who maybe have been around my channel for a bit longer, at least since late last year, I was dating a girl for quite a long time. I think we were together like almost 6 months, before breaking up. Uh, and basically, with that relationship, we were at different points of what we wanted. And by that, I mean, I like commitment. And she mentally was not at the place that I was for commitment. Like, she wasn't quite as mentally healthy to be able to devote her energy into a relationship as I was. Actually, I'm going to check on her today. I'm going to text her and see how she's doing. Um, but that's basically, why that relationship ended. It had nothing to do, obviously, like with the dolls or really me. Um, but yeah, so that's probably like the healthy one of the healthiest breakups I've had, where it's like it's this kind of mutual understanding of we're just not there, and we may never be at the same mental space at the same time. But I really liked her, so that was, it was sad at first, even though I saw it coming. After a bit, I did see it coming because I realized, the relationship was only progressing, but so far, because she was only opening up really so much. I'm an open book. I'm like super open because I tried, like, I went through that time in my life where I was um, mentally ill, super mentally ill, and, was very closed off, didn't share anything really. Um, but I've now, I've gone past that point that now I'm like, I will tell anyone anything. Like, you ask me a question, I will likely answer it because I just don't care to hide my thoughts anymore or my feelings, which is really, good part of a relationship. You should be communicating how you're feeling at any given time. And she did communicate mostly what she was feeling, which is why I knew it was coming towards an end point, and I wasn't like super thrown off by that. But ultimately, that is what happened with her. I talked about her in a previous live, and I just wanted to, um, update that we're no longer together, but it is okay. Ultimately, prior to her, it had been many, many years since I was consistently dating someone. That wasn't by choice. Trust me, I tried. I wanted to be in a relationship, because I like sharing things with someone, a special person. I love taking people on creative dates and stuff like that, and, intimacy and all that is fun. But um, I had started losing kind of hope that I would find someone before I started dating her, because it had been so long. So ultimately, this relationship for me helped me in so many ways because it made me feel like I will find someone again, even if it's not necessarily her, that there is going to be another person, even if it takes another few years, it'll be, worth it. Um, and hopefully the next person I date, it'll be, longer. But the relationship prior to her, I actually I ended that one, and I regretted it for a bit because I was like, oh my God, I can't find anyone else to date or love, because I'm a little bit picky. But, I'm glad I did, because that person that I was dating before her was just not right for me, like at all. Nothing was working out with that relationship. So that one I actually did cut off myself. I was like, this is not right. We were like in completely different physical places and life stages. This person was younger than me, and I was already in college, and they were still in high school. For example, that one. This was when I think this was my freshman year in college or something like that. Um, so I was like, this is just not going to work, because they didn't even want to go to the college that I was attending. So ultimately, it would have not worked really at all, um, because long distance, even if it's a couple hours away, almost never works. It's just realistic. It's just you got to be realistic about those things. And I am, if anything, a realist. So I was like, yeah, that's not going to work, buddy. I didn't say it that way, but I was like, where I am and where you are in life, it's not compatible. But yeah, with this one, it was similar, but it was with mentally where we were. But so that ended a while back. That was in January where that ended. But I thought I would update you since I had mentioned her, I think once on this channel, um, and was really excited about her. But that's life. What are you gonna do about it? Thank you. I think every relationship, even if it's kind of an unhealthy one, there is something to be learned from them. And so that's just kind of my takeaway. I've had a few long term relationships. So it's not like I'm just like, I know I'm young, but I've had a few longer relationships. So, and quite a bit of them did not end well. So I do kind of know what I'm talking about here. That each one of those, I did learn something about myself from them. Um, like, this is what I don't want in a relationship. Um, and that's, yeah, just part of growing up. Uh, anyway, I'm going to show you, I'm finishing up this layer. So I'm going to show you my personal collection doll that I finished for myself. He's so cute. You can't see his hair at all, but he's super cute. But let me put him aside. And then we'll show you her. So her name, I think it's funny because I don't remember. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, so y'all have to correct me. But I think her name is actually like a Taylor Swift album, and I didn't even realize that. Again, the lighting is horrible. If you want to see actual pictures of her, um, good quality pictures, you can look at my Instagram. But of course, this is the Laura kit. I painted this one. I sold the one I had because I had a specific vision for this doll kit. So this is, her name is Evermore. Like I said, I think that might be a Taylor Swift album. I can't remember, but she's really cute. This belly plate is not anatomically correct. Um, it's just a belly plate. But I wanted to paint that for her because I knew I had this outfit coming from Kate Quinn. It was literally $5. I cannot believe, and it's so cute. Um, but I have pictures up of her in this outfit with better lighting. Well, not lighting, but better quality pictures. She does have like rooted eyebrows, and her hair is painted around the hairline, and then it's completely rooted. But yes, she's super sweet. I thought Laura was so overrated because everyone had her at first. But then I had my first Laura that I bought, and then I painted the Laura kit, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. Love her. So yeah, this is my new collection doll that I made myself. Very proud of her. I'm gonna take her belly plate off. There you go, belly. I guess she didn't even really need the belly plate, maybe, for this outfit if I situated it right. Nah, you can still see her cloth body, so I'm glad I did that. But yeah, her name is Evermore, and she's super sweet. But she's not available, of course. That's not to say that one day I might not sell her, but this little girl, she is available. And again, lighting is bad, but I do have her posted on the community page on my channel so you can see her actual detail. But this is Ephraim. She is available on reborns.com for purchase. And I'm taking short-term payment plans on her as well. She's fully rooted with human hair. You can see it's nice and curly and wavy. It's really easy to style. And she could come as a boy too. I don't really care, it's up to you. And she takes a full pacifier. Like her mouth goes quite deep in there. She takes a full pacifier. She also sucks her thumb and all that too. But yeah, she is a sold out kit as well, just like Yael is. So I think I'm pricing them quite well for the fact that I think her blank kit sells for like 200 now, but I got her retail price, so I'm not going to overcharge, even though she is sold out. Um, I think McPherson's has a few of her kits as Boo Boo kits, like for sale right now, but her like overall her kit is sold out. They have like I think like 3 of her kits or something, but they only re-released those kits as Boo Boo kits, so um, not the same as when they were originally released. But yeah, she's really cute. But yeah, that's I think all I'm wanted to talk about in this live. You can watch it back to see the beginning. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me giving you some tips and stuff and seeing what I have coming up to be available and what is already available. Because I always get questions about that. What's available? Who do I have for sale? And nowadays, the dolls that I will have for sale, unless they sell before I can put them up there, they're going to be on reborns.com. So you don't need any social media account to see the dolls that I have available. You just go to reborns.com/unireborndad, and that's where my dolls are going to be listed. You don't need Facebook, don't need Instagram, anything. That's where they'll be, and that's why I started posting them there. Because originally I would only post on the Facebook groups, because you don't have to pay to have your dolls seen on Facebook, but to post on reborns.com and have your dolls seen, you do have to pay like $20 a month. But it's worth it because most of my dolls have been selling now through Reborns. But anyway, she is already up there, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend if I don't see you guys again. And I will be posting Yael tonight on reborns.com.